My girlfriend just confessed that she cheated on me twice with a guy a few weeks ago. We've been together for just over 3 years. Things were great for the first 2 years, despite some health issues on my part and surgeries that undoubtedly put a strain on our relationship at times. I'm still not 100% and am still working on myself, but I'm in a better place now. About 6 months into our relationship, we got a dog together whom we both love, and she moved into my apartment. She still had her rented place at the time. We were in love, or so I thought, and talked about our future together. We constantly told each other that we loved one another. My health issues never seemed to be a problem for her, and she said she enjoyed taking care of me when I needed it. However, I think it was always a heavy burden for her. It definitely limited how much we did and went out. Her new job, 1 year now, requires her to socialize and network a lot more than her previous job, and I didn't realize until recently how much she enjoyed going out. She always said she loved staying in with me and occasionally going out, but I think things have changed lately. We talked about buying a house a long time ago. We were both happy to do it before marriage for financial reasons. 4 months ago, I sold my apartment and we moved in with my family, and we've been house hunting since then. Her family lives abroad. Living with my family has been really tough, and it's put a strain on our relationship. I didn't think it would be this bad. I thought it was just a bump in the road and that everything would be fine once we moved, but she's been more stressed and distant over the last 2 months and has been going out more and more at night after work. Our jobs have always been very different and in separate fields. She works in an office and I mostly work from home. In recent months, she's been attending more work events, networking, drinks with colleagues, etc., maybe 2 to 3 times a week for some weeks in November and December. I never thought anything of it because I trusted her completely. We're abroad now, staying with her family for a few more days. We've seen her parents, grandparents, aunts, and cousins. We're staying with her parents. Last night, she told me she's been messaging a guy, a work type, since October, and about 2 to 3 weeks ago, she slept with him twice. She said he showed her affection that I hadn't shown in a long time, which I think is really unfair to say, although maybe there's some truth to it. Apparently, he didn't know she was in a relationship. When he found out, he asked her to break up with me. She refused, ended things with him, and blocked him. I'm devastated, shocked. Can't believe it. We're spending the holidays together, seeing her family, and now this. We have 5 more days here, seeing more of her family's friends. As I write this, she's asleep next to me. I can't sleep. I love this girl and thought she was the one. We've been through very tough times together, and I can't even imagine dating and starting all over again. I'm 35 now, not 100% healthy, and a bit socially introverted. Am I crazy for considering forgiving her and trying to work this out? Once or twice. A cheater, always a cheater? What do I do here for the next 5 days? Keep up appearances with her family and friends? We both love our dog, which also makes it even more painful. I know it's not the same as a child, but neither of us was ever set on having kids, and we both love dogs, which is why we got her together from the start. I told her I'd keep the dog and she just nodded. My life feels like a mess right now. Decent income, but no real career, which is also weighing on both of us. Still working on some health issues, just sold my apartment and was ready to buy a house with her. 35 years old, feeling old. Now I have to start all over? Just me and the dog? Date. Hello again, Reddit. It's the idiot here, questioning everything in his life right now. Thanks for all the responses. This post was basically a rant. I know what needs to happen next. The immediate problem is that our flight back is in 5 days, and buying another ticket now is way too expensive. I don't think I can justify spending a ton of money to go home alone a few days early. Someone mentioned that we moved in together too quickly. That was a mistake in the original post. I wrote it half asleep this morning and got the timeline a bit wrong. Actually, she moved into her own new place around 6 months after we started dating with a new lease, but we just didn't spend much time there, mostly because we both preferred my area and my apartment. Then she fully moved into my place after maybe 14 months. Not that this makes much difference in all of this. As for selling my apartment, I'm still very happy I did. I'd been there for years and it was the right time to move on, so thankfully no regrets there. I guess I know that 35 isn't old. Dating is just exhausting and I'm really not looking forward to it. And as you all know, it's not just that. Now I need to move on my own, keep working on my health, try to advance my career. I work for myself, which has stalled due to health issues, take full care of myself again. Thankfully I'm in good shape and a decent cook. Take care of the dog on my own and start dating again. The alternative to all of this would be working on our relationship, but mainly forgiving a cheater, which I just can't do. I know it's over, but the next steps are scary. My last breakup was in 2019, a 4-year relationship, so I've been through this before, but that doesn't make it easier. And there's also the mental aspect of it, where it now feels like a pattern. Every relationship of mine will stagnate after 3 or 4 years. Just more mental chaos now. Finally, Reddit, please tell me that a single 35-year-old guy with a very cute dog is perfectly acceptable, and that keeping the dog isn't going to be a bad idea. Update 2. It's over. The what-ifs are haunting me, but at the same time she cheated, and that's her fault, not mine. I've booked my flight home. I missed the cutoff for today, but I'm flying tomorrow. I'm not sure what to do about the dog though. She won't let me have her completely. How do I cut contact to keep the dog? I want our dog. Update 3. I'm back home. Well, home being my sister's place actually, not my parents' place as some people assumed. I didn't include this detail before. It turns out my sister, who was friends with my ex and texted with her regularly, knew that she was unhappy at times earlier this year. She showed me several texts where my ex complained about me working while we visited her family in July. In reality, it was a very small amount of work and we were there for over 2 weeks and I worked for myself. Another time was when my ex hurt her finger and since I was swamped with work, she went to the hospital alone instead of me taking her. Then the next day she was told to go to a specialist clinic at another hospital and she went alone. Work was crazy for me and public transport or Uber made it easy for her to get there and I don't recall her being upset that I didn't take her. But she seemed very upset in the text with my sister. And my sister never said a word to me. I checked our messages and my ex didn't seem even a bit irritated. She was furiously venting to my sister. Now my sister says she knew we had issues before we moved to her place. Based on those texts, she only showed me the messages when I kinda pressured her to let me see them. I'm really upset and angry with both of them now. Is this justified? Shouldn't my ex have communicated that she was unhappy with some of my actions over the summer when they happened, rather than just complain to my sister? And if my sister saw real issues in those messages, she made it sound bad, shouldn't she have said something to me? But she stayed silent until everything fell apart. Is my sister at fault here? Or is it just my ex's fault for not communicating again? It also feels like it's partly my fault for not putting in enough effort or noticing that she needed me at those times during the summer. I could have postponed some work emails on our trip until we got back. I only responded when we were relaxing and not doing anything else, I thought. I could have taken her to the hospital for her finger, but she told me not to since I was stressed with work and it was easy for her to get there on her own. Do these things make me a bad partner at that time? Should I have insisted on taking her, even though I was stressed with work and other things happening like selling my apartment, and it was easier for her to get there alone since she doesn't drive?
She's selfish. She did this to you while you were stuck there. I wouldn't be surprised if it was intentional. You're not old. Plus, you're a guy, so you don't have a biological clock ticking in your brain. I have one. And even so, I'd never settle for a cheater, especially one whose excuse was blaming you. You deserve better. I'd leave early if I could afford it. I'd also tell her family, so if I couldn't leave, I'd have a good excuse to go off on my own and explore the city for the rest of the time there. Expose her and enjoy yourself however you can.
She told you about the cheating while you were with her family because she felt safe telling you there. Change your ticket without telling her so you can go to your parents' house and pack her things. Her inability to handle your health issues says a lot about her. There were telltale signs. You listed them, but it still hurts like hell to hear her admit it, and so casually. Thank goodness you haven't signed anything together. If you stay, don't get her pregnant. Move on. You seem like a good guy. Someone else will appreciate you.
My girlfriend went on an international trip without letting me know. It all started when she accidentally left her laptop bag with me on the night of the 15th. Not a big deal. I could return it to her before she went to work the next morning, as she had already left by Uber. When I called to tell her, she suddenly panicked over something so small. She wanted to come back immediately to get it, saying she had work to do that night. This was unusual, as it was around 10 p.m. What work could be so important that she'd get another Uber back just to pick it up when I could have given it to her for free in the morning? This raised some red flags. After the call ended, I checked contents of the bag. I found a printed paper containing a confirmation number for a flight under her name, along with a note about checking in before a certain time. I kept looking through the bag and found her old passport, which she'd previously told me was expired. I also found a renewal receipt dated October. She'd never mentioned doing this. I took pictures on my phone to think about it later. She quickly came back, grabbed her laptop bag, and left again. I thought about it a bit more and decided to ask her about the confirmation number. Apparently, this was an old document from years ago when she went to Japan, and it just happened to be in her bag because she throws things in there and forgets about them. I wasn't completely satisfied with this answer. In the middle of all this, she told me she was planning to stay with her mom for about a week. 2 days later, on the 17th, I found the airline website that matched the confirmation number and entered it, along with her last name. There was a match. A flight from Toronto to Eugene via Denver scheduled for January 16, 2019. At this point, my heart was racing. The return trip home to Toronto was scheduled for January 23rd. This matched the time frame she had given me, saying she'd be staying with her mom for about a week, who also lives in Toronto. By this point, it was the 17th. She would already be there. My hands were shaking, and I felt sick. This was the girl I'd moved to Canada to be with. I tried to confront her immediately, calling her cell phone and work phone. No answer. I received an email from her work account, saying she forgot both phones at home and couldn't pick up. I was suspicious of this, as it seemed like she used her work phone to send the message. The text was black and not blue, as it usually would be if sent from a laptop. I told her it was urgent and couldn't wait. Strangely, she didn't call me from her desk phone, but instead set up a WebEx bridge conference to talk in an empty meeting room. It took a while to enter and set up, but we finally connected. I asked where she was, and she said she was at work in the meeting room. I asked again, and she repeated it. Then I mentioned the confirmation number again and said I looked up flight online. She said that was odd. After some back and forth, she broke down a bit, saying things had been stressful and difficult for her before breaking into tears and disconnecting from the call. I stayed on the line until she called back. When she did, she sounded fine again and said she had to go to another meeting room since the other one would be in use. I kept pressing her with the same questions. Where are you? Who are you with? Why did I find flight information under your name and cell phone number? I said that if I could see her for 10 seconds today, I would be happy and apologized to her. She said she was busy and had to go to dinner after work. I said I didn't care. I wanted to see her today. She said she would look at the calendar and then suddenly disconnect again. The WebEx bridge fell through and I couldn't reach her for 11 or 12 hours after that. I suspected that wherever she was, she used WebEx to mask her number and make it seem like she was at work when she wasn't. Eventually, she got back to me on WhatsApp saying the reason for the tickets was to help a friend. Apparently, the friend wanted the ticket in her name, but I have no idea if you can use a plane ticket if the name on it isn't yours. She insists she's still in Toronto but doesn't want to see me because she's mad and upset. I also checked the issue date of the ticket against the time the friend supposedly asked for help, and it doesn't match. The ticket date is December 13th. This friend asked for help on January 10th. She said she would take half a day off and see me tomorrow. Problem is, in the morning before I see her, it would be enough time for her to fly back and act like nothing happened. I'm lost, confused, and hurt. She responds sparsely and won't share her phone location with me, make a video call, or even have a voice call with me now. I also did some research and saw that there was a dog show near where her flight landed in Portland. This is an interesting event because she always said she'd love to go to one. How do I approach this? I've never been this upset in my life. My hands are shaking. I haven't eaten anything and have been sick twice. I'm terrified that she left me in this state while she's acting so indifferent.
Here's one of the hardest things to accept about liars, and that's that they lie. So, what's the surest way to be deceived? Confront a liar with their lie. Right now, she's probably rehearsing some new lies. If you confront her, you're just going to hear another lie that's even more full of holes and complicated than the last one. Why would you want to put yourself through that emotional mess? The kindest thing you can do for yourself is to realize she isn't the right person. Tell her you caught her in a lie, that you don't want to hear another one, and that you don't even need to know the truth at this point because it's over. Right now, you're moving on.
This is really shady. Since you have the confirmation number, check the status of her flights. If she changed the itinerary, it should show the new flights to return home. Unless she bought a new ticket, which would likely be more expensive than changing the flights. And since she doesn't seem to cover her lies very well, I doubt she thought that far ahead. Also, as some suggested, go to the airport to see if you can catch her there. You don't have to confront her there, but you could confirm your suspicions.